Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us for an evening of compassion and entertainment with Hindu Charities for America, or HC4A. My name is Hema Moller. I'll be your host for this evening. In January of this year, HC4A celebrated 10 years of giving back to society the most empowering gift received from this country, a great education. Hindu Charities serves local communities in two ways, providing schooling needs to homeless or near homeless elementary age children, and vocational scholarships to young adults who live below the poverty line and aspire for meaningful careers to build their lives. As we made some special efforts this year, especially to support these families, an unexpected recognition came our way. Founder and president, Mr. Harish Kotecha, was awarded the Sandra Neese Lifetime Achievement Award by the National Association for Education of Homeless Children and Youth. But really, what is the problem Hindu Charities is trying to solve? How severe is the impact of poverty on education in the United States? Diane Nyland has traveled across the country, both in rural and urban America, for the last 3 decades. She's been documenting and advocating for the lives of the homeless in America. Let's hear from her now.
I'm Diane Nyland, an advocate for homeless families for over 30 years. More than 6 million children and youth, infants to young adults, experience homelessness in America. Most are invisible, hidden in urban communities, small towns, and rural areas. Some have school stability, many don't, especially in this pandemic. These vulnerable young people suffer from hunger, traumatic stress, health issues, abuse, instability, and unimaginable turmoil. They want to learn, to be nourished, healthy, and loved. Their futures are in our hands. We can unleash their potential by empowering their families and youth. We can erase their invisibility by seeing and hearing them and responding to their needs. Society's blindness can be cured by our kindness. Hindu Charities for America invites us to share our bounty so children and youth may thrive and be productive. Our support will provide educational opportunities to change lives for the better. Thank you for your kindness.
Emma, thank you. What an inspiring start to this virtual gala. Thank you, Diane Nyland, for sharing the stories of young people whom we want to serve. As Hema alluded to, more than 10 years ago, I set out to solve one of the significant but invisible problems in American society. 40 million people live below poverty line in our rich country. Also, 2.5 million children are homeless on an average every year. This is the highest number in American history and is not going down soon. What can we do? Many of us of Indian origin have leveraged education to live our American dream. Our leaders like Vivekananda and Gandhi guide us to serve mankind wherever we live. We have decided to make a gift of education to transform the lives of millions of underserved students for their own self-reliance that would help entire families. We have provided this service over 10 years to thousands of such students. There is much more to do. Your generous support will be key in our efforts to serve these students in the communities we live in. I now introduce you to Alok Singh, our Vice President of Strategy and Planning, to introduce to you the next guest. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and namaskar. It's truly inspirational to see so many people from different walks of life in the US have come together to transform the lives of people in the communities we all live in, that too through education. That's the reason the theme for tonight's gala is also education for self-reliance. The founder and president of Hindu Charities for America, Mr. Harish Kotecha, just talked about the commendable efforts of last 10 years. Yet we have to do a lot more. We have to reach out to many more people and serve them, especially during the ongoing pandemic. As an organization, we believe in power of thinking before action. That's the reason we have developed a model to connect our lofty mission to ground level impactful programs. To develop such a strategic framework, we are fortunate to have access to top level expert, Professor Kasturi Rangan. Professor Rangan is former chair of marketing department and co-founding chair of Social Enterprise Initiative at Harvard Business School. The entire social sector world looks up to him for his strategic guidance. Today, we are fortunate to have him with us to share his views on education for self-reliance. Let's listen in.
First of all, let me start off by congratulating Harish Kotecha ji on the wonderful Sandra Nees Lifetime Achievement Award that you and your organization have earned for the wonderful work you've done for children from low-income families and for youth facing homelessness. It's a very inspiring mission that your organization undertook, and you achieved miracles in the last 10 years. Congratulations. There are many things to like about this organization, but I'm going to emphasize 4 things. HC4A, so let's focus on 4 things that I really am inspired by. First is your principle, the motto of serve where you live. Charity begins at home, as they say. And let's face it, we 4 million Americans of Indian origin who have come here in many different ways. First, we came here in the early 20th century as farmers. Then in the middle of the century, we came as hoteliers and it built the hospitality industry. And then came many professionals, scientists, engineers, doctors, and so on and so forth. And then in the 21st century, then we've had waves of technology workers who participated in the new economy. We built our families here. We studied here. We built factories. We built enterprises. We've achieved great positions. It's time to give back. We have to give back to the communities in which we live. We have to give back to the communities which we took from. Therefore, the whole principle of charity begins at home, serve where you live, is absolutely the bedrock of what any good charitable foundation should focus on. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do what you want to do back in your hometown, in your country. That's a separate thing, and you should continue to do that. But let's face it, we should give back to the communities from which we took. And that's absolutely the first fundamental thing that any good organization should do. So congratulations to HC4A for building on that principle. The second thing I want to emphasize is the principle of education. The focus on education, which is really the leverage to what an individual can achieve, is an absolutely important way to advance what a society can do, because education gives you the self-reliance, gives you the self-confidence, not just the skills. And here I'm not talking about a PhD education or a high-level graduate education. I'm just talking about education that makes an individual productive in society. And through the focus on being productive and through the focus of gaining their welfare in society, individuals can then start contributing. The whole idea of individualism and self-reliance, which has been espoused by great Western thinkers like Ralph Waldo Emerson, who's from Concord, very close to where I live. That's where he did most of his best work. And he wrote this essay on individualism and self-reliance. And he claims that he really got the spirit for that idea from the Hindu philosophy, Advaita philosophy, non-dualism as they call, where the internal and external self are in harmony and one and the same. So if you have the spirit inside you, you can also change the society around you. So that's the terrific thing that an education does. It's not just for the individual, but for the community around you. That's the second principle of HC4A that I really, really admire. The third principle, of course, is obvious. We have 4 million of Indian origin, but of the 4 million, close to 1.5 million of us are the younger generation, the people below the age of 25. You are the ones who went to school and college with the youth around you in your community. You're the ones who rub shoulders with, I said, the 20 million American children who live below the poverty line. You are the ones who rub shoulders with the 45 million Americans who live below the poverty line. So and you are the ones who understand what this culture is because you were born here, you were brought up here, you understand what's going on, and you work in the new economy. We absolutely need you to take this organization forward and really build on this bedrock principle of serve where you live and give to education. And last but not least, the fourth principle. It's November 22nd today. We are 1 week, literally November 14th was when we had a great festival of Diwali. It's 1 week after that. What is Diwali? Going to light from darkness, going to optimism from pessimism, going to prosperity from poverty. All these things are at the bedrock of what this organization wants to do. Grow in ambition, scale the organization, do even more great things as you go from the 4 states in which you now are to maybe 20, 30, 40 states as you grow big. But that's the way we will touch the lives of so many communities and so many children with education in and around us. Wish you all the best. Shukriya. Thank you and congratulations on all that the organization has achieved.
Thank you, Professor Rangan. That was a truly inspiring and meaningful talk. I'm sure that will continue to motivate many more people in the world. No wonder such teachings have made India the spiritual guru. Our next speaker is Dr. Desh Deshpande. Dr. Deshpande is a pioneer, innovator, and entrepreneur. Dr. Deshpande also co-chaired National Council for President Obama's entrepreneurship and innovation strategy. More importantly, he has inspired and motivated many more people like me to leverage the learning of corporate world to make bigger impacts in life. Let's listen in.
Thank you, Alok. And it's so nice to be spending some time with all of you. First of all, let me start by congratulating Harish Kotecha. Harish, thank you for founding Hindu Charities of America and your exemplary work and your Lifetime Achievement Award. Let me also give a shout out to Meena and Brahmaji Mittala. Meena and my wife Jayashree were hostel mates in IIT Madras. And we're so proud that their whole family is so involved with Hindu Charities of America. You know, today we heard from Diane as to what Hindu Charities of America does. We also heard from Kash Rangan as to why it's important for all of us to be involved with these type of efforts. So in the next 5 minutes that I have, I'm going to talk about how should all of us think about getting involved with the social sector. You know, we do have people, veterans like Harish Kotecha, who have done it for a long time, but I'm sure we also have a lot of newcomers who are just beginning to think about charity and getting involved with the social sector. And I'm somewhere in between. You know, I left India in 1973, did my master's, PhD, worked for a company, did a bunch of companies. But it's only the last 15 years that I and my wife Jayashree are spending more and more time with our foundation and the social sector. So one way to look at the world is that the world has 7 billion people, out of which about 2 billion people have disposable income and 5 billion people don't have disposable income. They both have problems, and solving the problems of these people is what the economy and the social sector is all about. When people with disposable income have problems, they're Googling for solutions. And therefore, if you want to make a difference in their lives, you have to compete for the opportunity. So you have to bring something new to the world, something that they have not seen before. So innovation becomes very important. So the formula I want you to remember is that it's innovation plus relevance is equal to impact. So you come up with an innovation, you direct it to some burning problem that people have, and then you'll have an impact. In fact, that's what the free market economy is all built on. And over the last 50 years, we've really developed the ecosystem as to how we can bring innovation to impact the lives of the people who have disposable income. And also, most of us are participants in that part of the economy. In United States, it's roughly 80% of the people have disposable income, 20% don't have disposable income. In places like India, it's 20% who have disposable income and 80% don't have disposable income. But when you participate in solving the problems with disposable income, because you have to compete, execution becomes very important. And that's the sector that most of us come from. And so we know how to compete, we know how to execute. But sometimes in that race to compete, we lose compassion for the environment, compassion for the people around us. Whereas when you look at the other 5 billion people who don't have disposable income, particularly if you go all the way to the bottom, they're just struggling to get through the day. So it's not like they're Googling for solutions. And therefore, what becomes important to make a difference in their lives and have an impact is to co-create the solution with them and build capacity within those communities. So that equation actually gets turned around. It's really relevance plus innovation is equal to impact, which means in that sector, you have to lead with empathy. You have to lead with a real concern, a real caring for these people that you really want to help. Another way to look at the world is that there are 3 types of people in this world. Some people are oblivious to everything. Obviously, that's not this group because you're all concerned about lots of other people. And some people see a problem and complain. Some see a problem and get all excited about it. The only difference between a vibrant community and an impoverished community is a mix of these people. You know, I've been on the board of MIT for 20 years, and I see all these young kids just chomping at the bits to solve the problems. In fact, their problem is not having good enough problems to solve. However, that culture, what that culture does is that there'll be no problems that hang around in those communities too long. Because if there is a problem, somebody's going to grab them and solve them. Whereas in impoverished communities, people really don't have much. And their problems become chronic. They get deadlocked. They try a little bit and they cannot solve it. And then they feel victimized. And then they start complaining. And therefore, the dominant culture of these impoverished communities becomes one of complaining. So if you really want to make a difference in these communities, you have to inspire them. You have to convert complainers to problem solvers. Not that they lack abilities, but they lack opportunities. So inspiring them, bringing hope to these people that tomorrow is going to be better than today, and that they can really should be excited about solving these problems is what the social sector is all about. And that's exactly what Hindu Charities of America does. You bring opportunities for school kids. You bring opportunities for community college students who would not be in the college, but for your generosity. And therefore, I would encourage all of you to very generously donate to Hindu Charities of America, but also in addition to your financial support, find ways to get involved, find a way to get in touch with these young men and women and inspire them. Tell them your story of how education helped you seek all these different opportunities. All these opportunities would not have opened up for us, but for that education. So I really appreciate all your effort and concern and what you're doing for this world. And thank you for letting me share these few words with you this evening.
Thank you for an inspiring talk, Dr. Deshpande. You have given some of the key guiding principles to the people who want to contribute to a social cause. Your formula of innovation with relevance for impact is immensely powerful. We would like to listen to you and learn over and over again to successfully expand our footprint across the country.
Now, 3 years ago, I participated in my first Hindu Charities for America event. So pleased to see a large room full of Hindu neighbors contributing to help disadvantaged youth, probably none of whom were Hindu. These HC4A contributions not only provided immediate help to the fortunate beneficiaries, but they represented a powerful statement about the commitment of this Hindu community to opportunities for the advancement of anyone with need. And tonight, the challenge is even greater because we are physically separated. But social distancing does not mean we have to abandon social engagement for social justice. The statement that each of you are making with your participation is a great way to respond in a spirit recognizing that we all benefit from lifting up others, that the education and the success of others benefit our community, and they really benefit our individual families. So I salute Harish for his innovative spirit, compassion, and leadership, and determination in expanding HC4A. But no matter how great his effort, he, of course, cannot do it alone. So thank you to everyone who's doing their part to help. All the best.
I have been a proud supporter of the Hindu Charities for America since 2014. Organizations like this, especially this organization, make such a huge difference in our community. HC4A has been helping to meet the schooling needs of homeless school-age children in our community. That's provided vocational scholarships to low-income youth, has raised over $1 million to date, and is a 100% volunteer-run organization with all of the proceeds going to those who are the subject of its support. I have seen the impact of Hindu Charities' work in our community. Even during the pandemic, this organization was able to bring internet to about 200 students who at that point were living without homes. I look to Hindu Charities as an example of great volunteerism in our city, the absolute dedication to the communities that they serve, the transparency to supporters, their ability to be able to find really effective and meaningful ways to serve. To all participants watching here tonight, I urge you to participate, to volunteer, especially to sponsor. And remember, this is a fundraiser, so take a moment and actually donate to support this important work. No matter how you act, please know that you make a difference. This community of ours, which is magical, does not survive without this kind of effort. And organizations like HC4A, Hindu Charities, are especially important to our community. Thank you to this organization for what you do. And to all the rest of us, let's give them a hand.
In a few minutes, you'll hear from some amazing people that HC4A has assisted. We've provided that hand up they needed to make it on their own. With your help, we'll give many more hands up so others can know the feeling of providing for themselves, having what they need, knowing they have the training and education to survive in these challenging times. Be a part of this movement. Bridge income disparity through education. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Along with your compelling stories of the problems we are trying to solve, we also heard encouraging words from our city and state leaders in support of Hindu Charities for America. Our next speaker is a highly influential personality from India, Mr. Anupam Kher. Mr. Kher is not only known as an accomplished actor in more than 500 movies and plays, but also a well-respected voice for Indian culture and philosophy. Who can forget the TV series Bharatvarsh, in which he narrated the stories of India from ancient to modern times in an extremely captivating way. Mr. Kher has also been spending a lot of time in the United States. While working in the NBC TV series New Amsterdam, he has been going around and connecting with people from different communities and sharing the socio and cultural stories of India. We saw his theatrical performance on the theme Kuch Bhi Ho Sakta Hai, Anything is Possible, to packed houses. We also learned from his session on the power of failure at Harvard Business School. Mr. Kher is also an author. The latest and third book is titled The Best Day of Your Life is Today. Yes, today. The best day of our organization is indeed today as well, when so many people from different backgrounds come forward to help the needy students of the country. Indeed, the best day of Hindu Charities for America is today. Let's listen in.
I'm so delighted to learn that the people of Indian origin in America have come together to help the needy American people, that too with education. It's incredible to see how Hindu philosophy of Vasudev Kutumbakam has inspired so many of you to serve other people below the poverty line in the richest country of the world. What is most admiring is your inclusive approach. You're offering your services to people from all communities and social backgrounds. In my opinion, that is the true Hindu way of life. If this can be done in the richest country by the immigrants from a developing country, then my friends, anything can happen. जी हाँ, कुछ भी हो सकता है. कुछ भी हो सकता है. If Langoti Dhari Gandhi can win freedom for India without any weapons, then anything can happen. If a boy who walked 10 kilometers and crossed a river to study went on to become the Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri, then anything can happen. If Nelson Mandela, even after spending 27 prime years of his life in South Africa, can be the president of the same country, then anything can happen. If the monk from India, Swami Vivekananda, could win over the hearts of millions of Americans in 1893 with his opening lines, "Brothers and sisters of America," an explanation of Hindu idols, then anything can happen. हाँ दोस्तों, कुछ भी हो सकता है. आप भी तो अमेरिका में रहते हुए दूसरे ज़रूरतमंद लोगों की मदद कर रहे हैं, तो कुछ भी हो सकता है. You all must continue with the spirit of serving others wherever you are living and working. The purpose of your organization on Serve Where You Live is truly inspiring. I must congratulate to the founder of Hindu Charities for America, Mr. Harish Kutecha, on winning the Lifetime Achievement Award in America for providing education to homeless children. मुझे गर्व है कि आप भारतीय मूल के पहले व्यक्ति हैं जिन्हें इस अवार्ड से सम्मानित किया जा रहा है. दोस्तों, I look forward to hearing more and more about your services to millions of the other needy students in America. Best wishes and thank you. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद मेरे प्यारे दोस्तों. जय हो and namaskar.
Thank you so much to Mr. Anupam Kher for sharing your time and your words with us this evening. Anything is possible if you decide to uplift those who are capable but need that scholarship support. Please open your hearts tonight and donate to HC4A so you can support vocational scholarships for youth in your own communities. All you have to do is text HC4A 2020 to 44321. You'll then receive a link that takes you straight to our donation page. So help us reach our goals right now. We'd like you to hear for yourself from some of our scholarship recipients on how your donations were the turning point in their lives.
When I got the scholarship, I appreciated the money. That's really helpful. But I do also really appreciate the Hindu Charities for America's commitment to encouraging volunteerism. So I think I was selected in part because I have a history of volunteering at the hospital, which I started doing when I went back to school. And that was really rewarding in and of itself. You know, I wasn't doing that expecting to receive a scholarship or anything like that. But when I was volunteering at the hospital, I did see how much of an impact that could have on the patients. And I think it's great that Hindu Charities wants to encourage that in students.
I first heard about ACC's scholarship opportunities through an advisor a couple years ago, and he encouraged me to apply for them because at the time there were a ton of opportunities that weren't being taken advantage of by a lot of students. And he said this meant there was a high chance that I would receive scholarships I was eligible for. So after that conversation, I applied for the first time, and I'm so glad I did. And then upon receiving the email saying I received the scholarship from Hindu Charities of America, I felt a whole array of emotions. I was so happy, I was so excited, honored, and most of all, grateful.
I just want to tell everyone how grateful I am and how much it really helped me to be able to focus on my studies instead of having to worry about picking up extra shifts at work or taking out more loans and having to, I took out just unsubsidized or subsidized loans, but I could take out more, but I would have to pay so much more back. So their donation is an investment in my future. So I'm really grateful for that.
You heard the impact of HC4A scholarships and how it leads to education for self-reliance. I now introduce my son Savan. Savan has risen to become one of the top pop songwriters in the world. Savan showed his passion for music, inspired at an early age by superstars like Michael Jackson. Born in a traditional Indian family, where the paradigm is to get education to become an engineer, programmer, accountant, doctor, or lawyer. His choice made us very uncomfortable. At a talent show, when the interviewer asked Savan what his dream was, he said he wanted to win a Grammy. This had a profound impact on my thinking. People succeed best in doing what their heart desires. I let Savan have 2 years to follow his dream. In 2 years, if he did not get a contract, the alternative was higher education. He did get a contract, and with his self-reliance, he is living his dream. Now I will introduce you to Savan.
Thank you, Dad, and congrats on the award. I've seen how my father, Harish Kotecha, has worked passionately to build and guide HC4A into what it is today. The award is a testament to his commitment to helping those in need get an education that will create real change in their lives. Nothing's more impactful than education to help transform the lives of people and help them become self-reliant. For me personally, it was music education that inspired me and gave me the tools, and more importantly, a community of support that I needed to pursue my dreams. Education helped us all in my family to acknowledge our different dreams in life. That education also guided me and my sister to choose what excited us most and become self-reliant. So I truly admire the tireless efforts of all the volunteers and donors of HC4A, and I would love to see their programs help many more thousands of young people in the United States. Have a great night. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Savan. You definitely inspire young people to pursue their heart's calling, just like Hindu Charities helps them pursue their calling and also build self-reliance through education. We all know it's been a very long year, and many of us are tired of staying indoors and willing to start traveling as long as we're taking all of the due precautions. So here is your chance. Visit our auction site on hc4a.org/gala and start your bidding right now on some fantastic getaways that are valid until 2022. If travel isn't your thing right now, consider some gorgeous artwork that we have donated by our local artists. Or you can also check out some very chic, beautiful jewelry sets. We have a little bit of everything for everyone. Visit hc4a.org/gala and start your bidding right now. Next up is the Vice President of Chapter Relations for HC4A, Mr. Desh Deshpande.
HC4A builds successes through our strong collaborations with community-based organizations. We work with our partners to identify the needs that haven't been met, and we raise funds to fulfill those gaps. It is with great pleasure that I present to you Dr. Richard Rose, Chancellor of Austin Community College. His leadership ensures that ACC is one of the leading community colleges in the country to provide an accessible pathways into higher education. He will be followed by Stephen Jacobs, Executive Director of Capital Idea, who has committed over 35 years of service to building and directing nonprofit initiatives in education and public policies in Austin, Texas.
Hindu Charities for America has been an incredible partner to the college for the past 5 years. You have given $185,000 to ACC scholarships. Thanks to your generosity, 237 students got the support they needed to make their education a reality. Since then, 114 have gone on to graduate with an associate degree. 12 have earned a certificate. Others have been able to stay on track and continue their educational journey. They are proof that every dollar makes a difference. The theme for the gala this year is Education for Self-Reliance. That's what your scholarships allow. The more opportunity we create, the more self-reliant our students become. Paying for college is the most common hurdle students face, especially this year. When COVID-19 hit our region, many students told us they lost their steady income. Their hours got cut or they lost their job altogether. We don't want that to stop them from achieving their dreams. I heard from one student recently who's a recipient of your scholarship. She talked about the struggle she was having trying to balance school with multiple jobs she had to take on to make ends meet. Your scholarship gave her financial support she needed to take on fewer hours at work so she could focus on her studies. When you hear from these students, you can hear the relief in their voice and their sincere appreciation. Not only does a scholarship provide financial support, but it also shows a student that someone believes in them. That's a powerful feeling. You've given them confidence to move forward. Your passion for our students continues to grow, and it makes a lasting impression.
And I speak with total appreciation and admiration for Hindu Charities for America. You've worked tirelessly on behalf of both the kindergarten through 12th grade and community college students of our low-income communities for over 10 years. You have the courage and the faith to invest in students who would not succeed otherwise. So we know what it feels like for HC4A to believe in the students you support. I want also to express my total appreciation and admiration for how you've accomplished what you have. For 10 years, I've watched Harish, Dinesh, and all of you grow HC4A to become the mature, ambitious organization it is today. I've seen you try new ways of raising funds and supporting students, learn from your experience, work hand in hand with other communities, and reach out to leaders outside your community and engage them. It takes persistence and commitment to build something like HC4A, and you have done it. So I congratulate you and thank you and wish you a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you.
Namaste and good evening. You just saw why our partners are truly our pride. It does take a village to support every brave dreamer. Our next speaker, Dr. Gitanjali Swami, has been named one of the most influential women in technology in 2020. I would say her influence comes from her inspiring personality and a passion for innovation in technology. She has founded, built, and was board director for a number of innovation enterprises. She led investment execution for them from seed stage to over $1 billion US. Let's hear what she has to tell us today.
Hindu tenet respects all religions as different paths to God. By embracing other religions and communities, such as the Jewish community in Austin, HC4A has embodied a true instantiation of inclusive Hindu spirituality. I'd like to congratulate HC4A for its focus on local communities. Very often, the beneficiaries of our philanthropy are in far-off lands. The allure of the exotic blinds us to the glaring disparities and economically disenfranchised right here in America. We forget that 34 million Americans live below the poverty line. We forget that economic mobility is so limited today that nearly half of the Americans born in poverty never make it out of it, remaining doomed to be at a subsistence level in the richest nation in the world. So kudos to HC4A in recognizing the importance of local empowerment in their work. In conclusion, my heartfelt good wishes to HC4A to continue their wonderful work on empowering our local communities to a better future through education. Thank you.
Thank you, Gitanjali Swami. The Indian diaspora across the world, and especially in the US, has mostly prospered through a high focus on education. Democracy and education are deeply shared values between the two countries. The pursuit of knowledge is perhaps a more ancient value than we intuitively understand as a community. Consider the age-old worship of Goddess Saraswati in temples, homes, or our office desks and shop fronts. Our next performers, Anuradha Nempalli and her daughter Purna Bajekal, embody this worship into the classical dance form of Bharatanatyam. Anuradha has been internationally recognized for her sustained contributions to the arts. She is an inductee into the Austin Arts Hall of Fame. So let's go and acknowledge and pay homage to Ma Saraswati's gift of learning that is present in all of us.
या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहार धवला या शुभ्र वस्त्रामृता या
Goddess Saraswati, you shine in the light of truth and knowledge. You are creativity embodied. Artistic pursuits, scientific discoveries, and technological advances. These are all possible because of you. The stroke of a paintbrush, the curve of a sculpture, the resonance of a musical note. O Saraswati, you are indeed our artistic muse. The joy of learning, the sharing of knowledge, the pursuit of higher education, the application of a new skill. O Saraswati, You are indeed the eloquence of wisdom. You are Vagdevi, the goddess of speech. You are Veena Pani, the one who plays the stringed lute, Veena. You are Pustakadharini, the one who holds the book of knowledge. You are Brahmi, the goddess of all sciences. With great respect and humility, we seek that you bless us all with your gifts of learning.
Thank you, Anuradha and Purna. That was so much beauty to inspire learning as well as giving. Think of the last time you felt fantastic about yourself. Could it be that for most of us, this was when we did something to help someone else? Meaningful happiness is the biggest reason why our donors and volunteers have stayed with us over the past 10 years. Manjima Kundu is one such donor whose story can be narrated many times and yet fill our hearts with warmth. Let's hear it from Manjima.
My husband and I came to US almost 21 years ago, and for the last 10 years we live in Austin with our two beautiful daughters. I believe strongly in the power of education, and I wholeheartedly support Hindu Charities for America and its vision of helping underprivileged students to get their education that they deserve. I come from a small town in the southern part of India, and my father was a teacher. So all my life, there has been an emphasis on education that I feel fortunate for. However, I struggled. Rather, I've been struggling with a genetic condition that impacts my eyesight. So I always wanted to help others like me. I hoped to contribute, to give back to the community, and HC4A has provided me with that opportunity. Through HC4A, I was able to donate towards the scholarships for the Texas School of Blind and Visually Impaired. Even with my humble background and the issues I faced because of my eye disease, I was able to succeed and now work as an IT leader for Electronic Arts, which is a leading video game making company. And I could not have done this without my education. I hope that with my donation and with the help of HC4A, people like me who are at a disadvantage can also reach any goals that they have set. Thank you.
A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate each one of you for making the time to join us this evening and be the influencers of change through education. This has been an inspiring and entertaining event, but the journey of bringing this event to you has been ever more special for me. I take this opportunity to thank Mr. Anupam Kher, whose messages always remind us that kuch bhi ho sakta hai, or anything is possible. Indeed, anything is possible with the support of inspiring leaders like Desh Deshpande, Professor Kashrangan, Geetanjali Swami and Savan Kotecha, who validate HC4A's journey by showing their support and belief in our cause. Thank you, Congressman Lloyd Doggett and Mayor Steve Adler, for your endorsement of HC4A's work. Diane Millen and Barbara James, HC4A is extremely fortunate to have the support of strong women leaders who have dedicated their entire lives to uplifting the lives of homeless families. I would like to thank Anuradha Nampally for a wonderful performance And a big thanks to our vivacious MC, Hema Malur. We thank our partners, Dr. Richard Rhodes of Austin Community College, Mr. Steve Jacobs of Capital Idea, and Mr. Niall Maxwell of the Greater Round Rock Foundation for their trust and belief in the HC4A cause over the years. Our sincere thanks to our sponsors, without whose help we would not have been able to bring this gala to you. We thank the entire management and crew of TV Asia for their involvement and providing the platform to host this gala. A big thank you to the gala committee who have spent several weeks of hard work to bring this program to you. Last but not the least, sincere thanks to Alok Singh and Gulshan Singh, key pillars of our national board. This gala would not have been possible without their guidance, planning, and involvement. Above all, I thank our donors. Because of you, we've been able to successfully fund the scholarships of hundreds of students for over a decade now. Thanks again for participating in HC4A's Virtual Gala. Please donate generously. Your time and monetary contributions both matter in serving our communities.
Thank you so much, Vijay. This has been a lovely and inspiring evening. We're so thankful that so many of you have donated in the last hour, and we want to keep that going strong. So please invite all of your friends and family from all across the US to learn more about the work HC4A is doing and help us help our local communities. Stay blessed for all of your good intentions. Namaste and good night.